I mean, and you think about the Gospels. I mean, if you have the life of the patriarchs written in the Old Covenant documents, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the historical narrative of their lives and how they interacted and related with God. And you have the same thing with Moses in Exodus. You have this historical narrative of how he was called, sent, and led his people out into the wilderness, and then Joshua led them to the promised land. And the historical narrative forms a huge part of those old covenant documents because they provide um, the historicity, the means by which God enacted his covenant in history. So it's the most natural thing in the world for a first century Jew who believes himself to be an ambassador of God in Jesus Christ of the new covenant to write down a historical narrative
Yeah.
of what
Yeah.
Jesus did and said, um, culminating, of course, with his death and resurrection, as Exodus culminates with the crossing of the Red Sea and then the crossing of the Jordan. That was Joshua, but yeah, that's where they're
One,
headed.
one question I can uh, foresee people having at this point is that if it's true that it's the writings from the apostles that are the authoritative books, what do we do with books like James, Jude, that sort of thing, Mark, Gospel, right?
Yeah,
So what do we do with those?
two different cases, but we'll start with Mark. So with Mark, uh, most understand, and this is not just a modern understanding. This goes back to I think Papias wrote this. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. The writer in the 2nd century wrote that Mark was essentially acting as Peter's amanuensis. His gospel is the compilation of Peter's preaching about Jesus' life, and that Peter was with Mark, overseeing him as he wrote. So that that writing bears apostolic approval, therefore. So everything that Mark wrote was received by Peter and the others as true and from the Lord.